What's up, guys? Jaydaniel here with my co-host Victor, and this is the Sales at Home podcast. How you doing, Victor?
I'm good, man. What's up? How are you, man? How's your day been so far?
It's been good, nice and productive.
Nice.
What are we talking about today?
So, a couple weeks ago we had the girls on. We had Reem and Natalie on, and we talked a little bit about people in the DMs and how they approach them and how they're communicating with people, right? And sleazy guys and girls and how they approach people in the DMs. And since that conversation, I feel like both of us have been seeing more and more of these types of people. It's almost like, when you buy the green Honda, everybody's got the green Honda. It's,
Yeah,
it's like we've been seeing it more and more since we brought light to it on that one episode, and kind of wanted to just have like a guy's conversation about it. We had the girls on, we heard their perspective and spoke a little bit there, but just to kind of talk a little bit about the type of person that would do something like that, or some of the stuff that we're seeing, and along those lines.
yeah, yeah, dude. I think it's if you think anything like it's this whole idea of like short-term gratification, long-term gratification, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think if you're thinking long-term, if you're thinking about your brand and your reputation, you don't do shit like that. Um, it's just I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, if you're sending creepy messages to chicks that you don't know, like, they can take a screenshot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That can, in a very small space, that is like, especially our space, like,
Yeah.
how easy is it for that to go viral in the space or in a Facebook group or and potential employers or partners to see it?
Yeah.
You know, it's not, especially, dude, especially when it's like a female that's not even in your state or your country. It's
Mhm.
like it's just a poor um it's just a poor business decision. I think if you do that, you're not thinking in terms of business. You know what I mean? You're just being an NPC, a pedestrian,
Yeah.
um, just doing whatever you feel like doing, and it's dumb. It's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like that, one particular message we both saw today where it's just like
Yeah,
44, I'm single. I'd love
that was creative, bro. He's I think we make good couple, baby.
like you said, you're not thinking in terms of business or growth at all.
Yeah,
You're coming at it, you're shooting from the hip, and there's no thought or any type of precision or anything put
yeah,
into it. You're just kind of just throwing it out there because
yeah.
you think, oh, cool, shoot or shoot. And I it's such a funny phrase when people say shoot your shot, right? And people say like shoot or shoot, and you miss all the shots you don't take. But when you look at like basketball, like professional basketball, and you look at the shooters and the great shooters, they shoot the same shot every single time. They practice that shot. They line that shot up appropriately. They shoot off one way, 1 foot. Their form's the same. Like everything is precision with them. They don't just shoot a shot. They practice that shot forever until that one point in the game when they shoot that shot and make it. Right?
Yeah,
People are out here just shooting, throwing the ball in the air, just throwing it, thinking that it's
yeah,
gonna yield dividends, but it's not. And it's a metaphor for how we're supposed to, you know, actively line ourselves up for success. And if your goal is, I'm going to shoot my shot at this girl and she's going to be like, yeah, baby, let's get together. You're no longer single at 44. Then you got to come a little bit more correct than that. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, dude, it's like sales, right? Like,
Yeah.
you take your fucking process, and if it doesn't work, you make improvements to it. You see where like you do the same shit, doesn't work over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just the crazy person. So um yeah, I mean, dude, it's yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like this just
Yeah.
that's where they're gonna stay. And
But like you said, though, you said something about your brand, right? And
yeah.
and
Oh no, yeah, brand is tarnished. It's
how
fucked.
that resonates.
You're the
Your
fucking creepy guy everybody's making fun of. We're making fun of him right now, you know?
exactly. And but you know what's funny though? People think all the time like, oh, well, I'm not actively trying to have a personal brand, so I don't have a personal brand. I'm not like, you know, putting color schemes together and putting like, graphics together. I don't have a logo. I don't have a catchy name, so I don't have a personal brand. But everything you put out there is a derivative of your brand. And how you communicate is your brand. And that's what people think of you when they look at you. So when you've got prominent people in business and people who could probably help you, who could probably help elevate your status, and you're coming at them like, hey, baby, blah blah blah, what's up, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Like you're tarnishing that brand, and you're
Everybody
tarnishing
they
their
know
potential.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it.
exactly.
Everybody they know
Everybody
too.
they
They're
know.
like, oh yeah, this guy's the guy, you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's huge, bro. I think hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and like, if that's the one thing I think that we slip on as far as salespeople is our personal brand. We're kind of pivoting, but it's true. Like, that's the one thing that we slip on as salespeople, is realizing that we're developing a brand. Everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we don't do and say as well. So if I don't post for 3 weeks, and then I try to post, am I going to attract the same amount of people, the same level of people? Am I going to come up on the algorithm the same? Am I going to attract, those people around me? No, I'm not. If I, get mad and go on a rant, and I'm talking about, like, if I pull a Kanye, start talking about the Jewish people, and all these things like that,
Shout out to Yay.
you know what I mean? No, but
Yeah.
that's his brand. That has now become synonymous with his brand. And so what happens when you put negative brand image out there? You start to lose deals, right? You start to lose potential. And I mean, Dave Chappelle said it great. He was like, when I saw all this happen and everybody dropped Kanye, I told him to pull his chain back out, because Kanye was like, only billionaires don't wear chains around their neck. He's like, so when I saw all this happen, I was like, hey, pull your chain back out. You're not a billionaire anymore. But like, is it truth though? Like, your brand is a derivative of everything that you do, and it shows everything that you do. So when you're out here being
On the
misusing your
streets.
brand, and yeah, when you're out here in the streets misusing your brand, like, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come back to bite you in the butt.
And can I simplify this for people listening? Like, dude, your
Yeah,
brand is your reputation.
yeah.
Like, your brand is the perception people have of you before they even meet you,
Hmm.
you know? And so, um, even in your company, like the performance you do, the way you show up, the things you do, like that's your brand and that's your reputation.
Yeah,
The best branding, the best reputation is like you're having people offer you opportunities that are the highest quality opportunities. You are being like you're just you're attracting instead of chasing, right? Like it's
yeah,
this whole thing. So yeah,
yeah.
branding's really big.
If you're watching and not listening, I'm wearing a hat right now that's got my logo on it, and it says "Hi." It says the Ninja Closer, High Ticket Family Man. So I made this hat just playing around. Just was like, hey, I saw an ad and was like, yeah, let me just make this hat. It's a brand that I use on my social media. It's a brand that I use, wherever I'm at. This is a character. That's not my whole brand. My brand is not this character. This character is just a symbol of my brand. My brand is me, and how I communicate, and how I talk to people, and how I do business. That's more important than this character on my hat, And so a lot of people will hide behind the characters on their hat, or the name on their t-shirt, or the logo of their company, and they're not being true to their personal brand and what that means.
Hmm.
And it's funny because it's like, you hear someone say, man, I can't find a job. And you're like, all right, well, what is your brand saying? Does your brand saying that you're a salesperson, or does your brand say that you party hard on the weekends, and that you can't keep a relationship, and that all of these things that you put out on a regular basis on social media, not really realizing that, hey, this is derivative of my brand. This is what I look like to people. And it's funny because it's you're doing it to yourself. If you can't find a job, it's because you're doing it to yourself. Because there's plenty of opportunities out there.
Yep.
If they're not coming to you, it's because you're rejecting them. You're pushing them away.
Bro, this leads to a very good like conversation. So like Chris Voss, he talks about all the body language stuff. Like, dude, body language is like 90% of communication, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Less than 10% comes from the words you say. Most of it is like body language. It's like how you're being perceived. Um, like the way that you're perceived, and it's similar to what you're saying, right? But like people won't listen to like what you're saying. They'll look at what you've done and what, because they are, right? Like people are, I can't find somebody to hire me. People are literally looking and searching for somebody in your position. Like they're hunting for it. They need them. If they don't find them, their business is going to collapse because nobody's talking to their leads. Right. So if there's such a desperate need and you're supposed to be filling that need, right? Why is it that nobody wants you?
Yeah.
And that's when you think about, okay, what does that salesperson look like? And what do I look like? And what's the difference? And for most people, it's like, oh shit, I just posted a status of me like being drunk. I just had a conversation with another professional, and I'm the words that I'm saying, yeah, I suck, I hate sales, I suck at this, I don't make any money, nobody ever wants to hire me, you
Hmm.
know. You're putting out perception, not what they're looking for. You're putting out like, I am a liability, I take up space,
Yeah.
I'm not wanted, right?
You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Shooting yourself in the foot. Exactly.
And it's funny because it, like, I keep saying it's funny, but it really is. Because it's so easy to look at someone who's successful and look at what they look like compared to what you look like. And no, we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people, compare success, but we should compare tactics, right? We should compare the rules, right? We should compare what makes them tick, what makes them work, and what am I lacking, right? You're not comparing, you're sizing up to make sure that you're doing all the right things. And the people who are successful, they look a certain way online. They look a certain way when they show up to their calls. They look a certain way when they speak to people and when they respond in comments. And if you don't look that way or similar to that, then you can see like where you fall off. You can see that, oh, I'm missing this, I'm missing that, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. And that's why I don't have an opportunity.
Exactly. If somebody who's successful in your industry has a six pack, you probably want to get a six pack, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I
Especially
don't, uh-huh.
especially if you're a fitness coach. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know how many fat fitness coaches I see? And it's
Yep.
like, and like, oh yeah, well, my business is struggling. And not that, okay, not that you can't be a fat fitness coach. All right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
But you
you
can't.
can't you can't be that and expect to be have as much success as a person with a six pack. Not that
100%.
the six pack is a barometer of your success or failure, but the effort and the work that it takes to get that, if you're not willing to put that in, then don't expect your clients to be willing to put it in as well.
Exactly. Dude, if I want a fucking fitness coach, the image that comes to mind is probably like, okay, they know how to get a six pack. How do I know that they know how to get a six pack? They probably have one.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They like it's just the obvious conclusion, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just
It's that how you do anything is how you do everything,
right.
and like how you show up to and how you appear to other people is very, very telling of how you're going to perform as a coach or how you're going to perform as a recruiter or how you're going to perform as a salesperson, and like we've got to be aware of that.
100%. Dude, I had two personal trainers approach me at my old gym. Um, one of them was probably 400 pounds.
Mhm.
His belly was out of orbit. It was massive. Um, and the other one was he probably had like less than 10% body fat. Was in good shape.
Yeah,
Guess which one I entertained?
the one who's in shape.
Yeah, I didn't even entertain the other guy. I was like, okay, cool, buddy. Yeah, have a good
Yeah,
one. Like won't even have the fucking conversation because it's so
yeah,
obvious he doesn't practice what he preaches,
yeah.
and that's literally how like the employer, the business owner that you want to work for won't even entertain the conversation if you can tell you're not a fit for the position because
Right,
they're looking to disqualify. They're like, okay, these are the when somebody has abundance, they're just looking to disqualify as much as possible because they got all these fucking people they got to deal with to try to find the one that's actually worth their time.
right. You're
You know?
100% right. Com- Completely off topic, if I can switch this real quick. I was
Mhm.
listening to something this morning and we're talking about people being fit and being like specimens with 0% body fat.
Yeah,
Have you heard of Rob O'Neill,
I haven't.
the Navy
What
SEAL, he's the guy who shot Bin Laden.
did he? Oh, I've heard of that.
He's the
I
guy who
didn't know
killed
his
Bin
name.
Laden. Yeah, so
Mhm.
he's now a retired Navy SEAL, and he's like does all these speeches and talks, and I was listening to one of his talks this morning, and he
Yeah.
said something that I think we could talk about a little bit and do some justice to.
Sure.
Um, he said, stress is like a bag of bricks. He's
Hmm.
like, every morning when you wake up, you pick it up and you can shoulder it and you can carry it about your day. He's like, but as soon as you leave that somewhere, it's done. It's left. You left it there. You can now go on and move more freer about your day because you don't have the stress on. You choose at the beginning of your day to pick up that stress or not. He said, stress is a choice. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so there's like there's real stress and there's imagined stress, right? Like real stress is like your life is in danger, shit's happening. Imagined stress is like you literally have an image in your head that makes your body think that you're in trouble, but really it's just an image in your head and you can use that for to your benefit or you could use that to your disadvantage. Um, if you wake up and you're thinking thoughts that are fucking you up, right? Like you're fucking up.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? And it's that picture. It's that picture of the guy with the bag over his shoulders. He's like, "Oh, this is so hard." And on the bag it says like negative thoughts. Like, yeah, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I think I was thinking about this the other day. Like, with sales, most like courses, trainers, coaches, whatever. Um, the people usually the material is pretty good and the people that already have their head on straight they just apply the process and get improve their skill and they get the result. The ones that don't get the result usually they're in their own way and they're carrying the metaphoric bricks, you know.
And the whole time he's speaking, I'm listening to him, and he's applying, his SEAL training, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, you know what? All I had to do was make it to the next day. He's like, just not
Yeah.
quit. He's like, and they make it so easy to quit. And I realized that I could find joy in little things. So he's talking about little trials that they had him do, little tests. And he's like, yeah, I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed going down to the bottom of a 15-foot pool and tying a knot on a rope. And then the instructor coming down and telling me yes or no, and then going back down and tying another one. He's like, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the solitude that came with that. I enjoyed the drills. I enjoyed all of these things. I found joy in it, even though it sucked. He's like, none of it was impossible. It was all just get through it and get to the next day. He's like, I wake up in the morning, I make my bed, I brush my teeth, I get to breakfast. And then after breakfast, I just do what I got to do to get to lunch. And then I do what I got to get to lunch to dinner. And then from dinner, I do what I got to do to get back in bed, which I can do well and have a good night's sleep because I've already made my bed in the first place. And so he's talking about, my thought in my head was, I just make it through today. If I'm gonna quit, quit tomorrow. Don't quit today. Don't quit on that decision. And he's like, even on my missions and all of this, he's like, I was afraid. He's like, I was afraid in some of these missions, and that's okay. He's like, fear helps you think. Fear makes you think well. He's like, how many times do you watch this scary movie by yourself alone in your house and you hear everything? You hear the crickets outside, you hear the house creaking, you hear everything because you're high alert and you're thinking.
Yep.
Like, of course I was afraid and all of these things. He's like, but I knew that I just had to do my job and not quit and adapt on the fly. And everything that he's saying, I'm like applying to sales,
Right.
applying to like life. And it's like stress. Why? You're doing that to yourself. Fear,
Well,
okay, fear is good. Think, you know, get through these situations and make it happen and get on this call present and available for this mission. Do what you got to do on this mission and don't worry about anything else but this mission. And then when you're done, you're done. You go on to the next mission and you leave all of that behind you, good or bad, and you keep it moving.
mm-hmm.
And that all of that just hit me hard. But the one thing that he said that really touched me is he said a lot of these Navy SEAL instructors, he's like, if you look at a team of like Navy SEALs, you look at like the most elite of the elite, right? Like SEAL Team 6, the elite of the elite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they all have a crazy sense of humor because they realize that this could be their last day. They got to enjoy themselves. They got to like laugh and be light and enjoy the good things in life because nothing is promised, right? So
Right.
in my head, I'm like, wow, how how can I apply that to my life? And just realize that, dude, we're in such a great position. We're in such a great time, like in history, where two people of color like you and I could sit here and make as much money as we possibly can with our skill and our effort from home, like on our computers and phones.
Yep.
Like, and we can sit here on this computer and talk about it on this podcast, and we can, you know, we have the ability to influence people and all of these things that even 50 years ago we didn't have the ability to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, how blessed are we to be in this time in our lives, and how grateful should we be to just be able to do this and be able to take care of our families in this way. So yeah, why not have a light spirit about it? Why not look at it and be great, and you know, have a good sense of humor and be fun and make it easy? Because comparatively, this is easy. We're not getting shot at. You know what I mean? We're not getting
Yep.
shot at. We're not getting, you know, chased by jaguars, like JD likes to say. He's
Mhm.
like, we're not. We're chilling in our comfy chairs, and we're just talking on our microphone.
My chair is really comfy.
Dude, you
I don't
got a
know if
broom.
I don't know if the people at home have seen, but we have a freaking beautiful executive chair with quadruple cushion. Ah, continue.
Yeah, he's gonna post a link.
Link in the link is in the description.
Yeah, you know, it's on my way to work this morning. I'm listening to it on my way to getting things done, and I'm just like, you know what? We're in such a great position. You know what I mean? This is a great time to be alive, no matter what goes on in the world, no matter what's happening, you know, no matter what stresses we have, drop all of that. We're in a great spot.
Yeah.
We're in the best place to be right now.
It's crazy how much of it just comes back to like the personal development, you know, the most simple boiled down parts of it, right? Like
Yeah.
be present in the moment, work hard. So it's crazy. And so for anybody listening, I think the biggest takeaway for you would probably be actually I'd like to see comments on what some of the biggest takeaways are from this topic, because we covered a couple of different things.
Yeah.
But this has been the Sales at Home podcast. You guys are beautiful people. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you.